This story is from I Do Work Here Lady, titled ID Please? I Work Here. BS. ID Please? This happened 4 years ago when I was starting my senior year of college. I started working at this really popular bar at my university as a cook, fresh out of a crappy catering job. It was the beginning of the school year and thus the beginning of college football season. I was ecstatic because I had just turned 21 a week after I started there, and I got free drinks as well. As dumb as that statement is, this is importance later. About 3 weeks into the job, our college had their first home game, and as usual, the entire university is absolute pandemonium between traffic and everyone and their mother heading for the restaurants before the game. My shift started after the game, so I started heading to the bar around that afternoon. Remember when I said the bar was popular? There was a line of like 16 or 17 half-sloshed college students waiting outside the door to get in while a bored-looking security guard took their IDs. Seeing as how I was new year, I wasn't sure what to expect on game day or how busy it was. Normally, I would use the back entrance to get into work, but the entire back lot, and by extension the entire back entrance, was blocked off to be used as a party area / dance floor, so the front entrance was my only option. I started making my way to the front entrance to walk through when all of a sudden the guard stopped me. This woman had a permanent scowl of someone who doesn't get paid enough to deal with sloshed college kid all the time, along with an type of attitude. Guard: well, where do you think you're going? Me: I work here, my shift is starting. Guard: nice try, not getting loud. Me: ma'am, I'm not kidding, I actually work here. Guard: you get any ID or badge that proves it? Probably worth knowing that I didn't even have a uniform on. The cooks wear dish shirts over regular clothes. Me: size. Here, hands over ID. Guard: okay, so you're 21, still ain't gonna let you skip the line unless you prove you work here. Me, getting irritated: look, can you just get the manager or something so he can prove it? Guard: you see this line? I ain't going anywhere. If you want in, y'all gonna have to wait in line. At this point, students are getting pissed off at me, supposedly holding up the line. I'm getting pissed off because I can't even get to work without being late, and I was running out of options. That's when I realized I was late, but that turned out to be my saving grace. My manager called me around that moment. Chris: OP, are you almost here? Me: I'm actually here, but security's not letting me in. Chris: oh, give me a sec. He hung up, came outside a second later. He'd shoot out the guard for not even attempting to check with him to see if I was telling the truth and making me late, and he got me into the bar to start working. Chris and I have had a good laugh about me getting carded to go to work, and the fact that this would have been a lot more complicated if I didn't turn 21 a couple weeks ago. Good times. And was I the jerk here? I mean, in this case, you really can't blame the security guard. There's total pandemonium out there, as he said, and there's somebody trying to get in, maybe at a previous job, that's how people snuck in or something, and there was no way of her verifying it, so she probably should have called, but with all the chaos, maybe it didn't seem as obvious as it does in retrospect. He also admits that he's not even wearing work clothes, so it would be hard to tell one way or another, so I kind of feel bad for the guard getting chewed out, but she should have checked with him if there was enough time to do so. Am I the jerk for insulting a girl's weight after she went off on me for touching her purse on a crowded train? The train is packed, it's hot, I'm tired and looking for a place to sit. Everything was occupied, but at one point I see an old lady get up and start making her way to the doors. I went over to sit in this new place, but found a purse in it instead, belonging to the girl in the window seat. I asked her if she can move the purse, but she didn't respond. I noticed she had headphones in, so I figured I'd pick up the purse and hand it to her as I'm sitting down. As soon as I touched that thing, she went off on me with the most disgusted look and tone, asking me what the heck was I doing. I explained. She then had the nerve to lie that she was keeping the seat for her friend. I told her I knew for a fact she was alone because I just saw the old lady get up, to which she did not respond. So I started making my own way down, of forcing her to pick up her purse if she didn't want it crushed under my butt. This released an even bigger tirade and series of, what the heck is your problems? I saw an older lady looking for a seat in approaching hours, so I figured I'd had enough of this pettiness. I turned to the girl, who was slightly overweight, locked eyes with her and told her, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you actually needed 2 seats to be able to fit. My bad, I'll get up now. I got up and offered my seat to the old lady, who took it with a smile, seemingly ignoring the huge storm of rage that was spewing out of the girl's mouth as I was walking away. I noticed that some people gave me dirty looks, but others were chuckling, so I kinda wondered if I stepped too much out of line there. Am I the jerk for insulting a girl's weight after she went off on me for touching her purse on a crowded train? Well, in most places, if there's anyone who's elderly, they are the ones who get the seats anyway, so if somebody comes onto the train and you're sitting in a seat and all the seats are full, you're supposed to offer it up to the elderly person regardless of this whole weird situation here. Probably what he should have done is, instead of just picking up the purse and trying to pass it to her, he probably should just tap her on the shoulder and motion that you wanted to sit there, but it sounds like she wanted to keep her purse on there even though the train was full. There was one of these investigative reports where they had some news station go on a train recently that I saw where they find full trains where nobody can sit, and then they have people that are putting their feet or luggage on the seats in front of them that somebody else could have sat at, and they run up on them with cameras and stuff and ask them, why are you doing this? Don't you realize it's a full train? And they basically embarrass people into not being jerks about it and giving up the seat, the extra seat. So I can definitely see why the OP would be very frustrated here. That last little zinger probably wasn't the most helpful, but let me know what you guys think. What would you do if you were in this situation, and jerk or not a jerk, and why? Am I the jerk for allowing 2 teenagers to be spit on by a llama? I work at a petting zoo here, and this weekend we had 2 teenagers, around 16, a boyfriend and girlfriend, who are antagonizing a llama. I told them, you might want to cut that out. Llamas spit in self-defense, but they kind of laughed off my warning. Now, I knew that llama spit was a whole lot worse than they probably thought it was, but I decided not to tell them about that. I figured if they persisted, I trust the llama to teach them a lesson. The llama was being patient. At one point, it gave them a warning spit, which is just saliva, and they went, ew, and laughed about it and brushed it off, and then kept going at it. Finally, the llama had enough and unleashed its green, defensive spit that llamas are known for. It got the girl square in the face. She dropped to her knees and started retching, and eventually threw up. Her boyfriend was gagging and ran away towards the building that I was in. To make things worse for them, I didn't even let them come in to wash up in the petting zoo's only bathroom. It was a slow day, so I just locked the doors. I told them I didn't want that smell inside and made them leave the farm without washing up. Am I the jerk? The girl's parents called me the next day and yelled at me, saying that was too harsh. Maybe it was. I knew that if you don't wash out llama spit right away, the smell sinks into your skin and becomes extremely hard to remove, but I wanted the lesson to sink in as well. So, am I the jerk for allowing 2 teenagers to be spit on by a llama? I have never heard of this before. Who knew llama spit was so brutal? I mean, really, as some people pointed out already, they had 2 warnings. The first one was a verbal warning, and the second one was the saliva warning. And it is really weird that after getting spit on with the saliva warning, that they thought it was normal enough to just keep going, doing whatever they were doing to mess with the llama. And who's even messing with llamas to begin with? The llama's probably trying to mind its own business. If anything, I think the most messed up part was locking the bathroom doors, but I can understand not wanting that smell to be in there, especially if it sticks around for a long time. Somebody actually bought the point that they didn't learn their lesson if they got their parents to call and complain. And the OP actually said that I think the mother complained mostly because her whole house stunk and her daughter wasn't able to remove the smell. She agreed that her daughter was in the wrong, but said that I should have warned her or let her wash it off and that this was too harsh. She said that the smell seemed to be getting worse over time, even after multiple showers, which I had heard secondhand that llama spit can do. It soaks into your skin and continues to rot. I think that the smell was the main reason she got mad. I just told her there's not really anything that can be done once it's soaked in, and that I wasn't about to let my bathroom stink to high hell so her daughter could try and fail to wash it off after multiple warnings. I wonder how long this actually stays in your skin. If any of you guys have ever been spit on by a llama, let me know down below in the comments. And also, was there not a water hose or anything at all, a water fountain, where they could have at least tried to wash it off before it soaked in too deep? Maybe the bathroom really was all that there was available. But what would you do if you were in this situation, and jerk or not a jerk? Am I the jerk for gifting my sister pictures of my dog? I'm a bit of a jerk, I will admit, but hear me out. So today I was in my parents' house to celebrate Christmas Eve with my side of the family, as this year I will be spending Christmas with my girlfriend's family. Anyways, we opened up presents early this morning. Something I should note about my sister is that she loves her children, which is great, and I do love my nephews, but every year she gets me magnets, pictures, blankets, and pretty much anything she can plaster her kids on. While it's nice, I don't have a shrine in my house dedicated to them, and I know this might sound selfish, but I don't really want them. Also, as I don't know what to do with them, they end up in a drawer or something, because one year she got me a really large tapestry thing with her kids on it, and it was huge. Obviously, I didn't want to hang it up as it quite literally covered the entire wall. I never say anything to her as I don't want to offend her and ruin Christmas. So that's when I had the genius idea of doing the same thing, but with my dog. I put him in a little tie, took his picture, put his frame. I love my dog as my child, so I figured I'd give it to my sister. I also got her a $25 Starbucks card as she's obsessed with them, and I wasn't trying to be petty. Anyway, she opens it up and her face drops. Then she goes to me and says, "What the F am I supposed to do with this?" Without thought, I said, "The same thing I do with yours. It'll look good on your coffee table." Long story short, she got mad. My family is pretty much on my side, except for a couple of people who thought it was funny, but in the end, quote, "Dogs aren't comparable to humans," which I don't necessarily agree with and wasn't the point of the GIF, but whatever. I thought it was funny, but I need unbiased opinions. Am I the jerk for gifting my sister pictures of my dog? The full-size tapestry is kind of nuts. Even if they were your own kids, having an image of them that takes up the entire wall is kind of strange. At that point, you might as well start getting brass statues of your kids. Just line the entryway to your house with the giant blown-up versions of your children all along the way. And while you're at it, get some big posters so you put on the ceiling so when you're lying in bed, you could stare at images of them on the ceiling. His sister probably isn't mean anything weird by it, but it is weird. And maybe he should have led with the Starbucks gift card first, because she might have been offended thinking that this is all you got me is a picture of your dog. But let me know what you guys would do if you were in this situation, and jerk or not a jerk. Am I the jerk for telling my daughter to cancel her marriage? I have a 27-year-old daughter who was with her boyfriend for 7 years and they got engaged not long ago. Just a small party, not many guests. She always talks to me about how she loved him, how he always listens to her, and how he was made for her. I have agreed with her since I found him to be a good-natured man. He was kind and humble and always respectful to the family. We met his parents for dinner twice or thrice, and the him is a little sexist, asking questions to my wife like, "I don't know why you're working. Isn't that the husband's job? It's the mother's job to be taking care of the children." Now that they wanted to make it more serious, they planned a marriage. Anyways, we were planning the marriage, and one day her boyfriend comes to me and says his parents want to talk to me. I was going to call my daughter too, but he said that she wasn't allowed. I went with him and his parents started talking with me about a dowry. I was confused and said there was no dowry, and in 2020, who even gives a dowry? But the boyfriend and his parents started lecturing me about how necessary it was and how my daughter would be a stay-at-home wife. My daughter has always told me she wants to continue her dreams, so I don't know what this is. Anyways, they told me that I should give it a thought and told me not to tell my daughter for the time being. However, I immediately told my daughter about it, and she started crying, saying she didn't know her boyfriend was so sexist. She asked me what she could do now, and I told her that she wasn't being forced and could cancel her marriage if she didn't want it. Well, that is exactly what happened, and her boyfriend and his parents are calling me saying I took away the love of his life, etc. On top of that, some of her friends, of which many were bridesmaids, said that I was a huge jerk for breaking up what would have been a healthy marriage. But it's my daughter's happiness that matters. Am I the jerk for telling my daughter to cancel her marriage? If the daughter thinks that she's going to get into the marriage and continue to follow her dreams, but the husband thinks that she is going to be a stay-at-home wife and just surprise the daughter with that after she's already married, then this whole arrangement doesn't make sense. How can you possibly be with somebody for 7 years and not know that that's what the boyfriend's expectation would be when the girlfriend, the wife, doesn't seem to want that at all, at least from the way that the parent is telling it here? I mean, I guess the plan was trap her in the marriage and then all of a sudden spring it on her that, hey, by the way, you're going to be a stay-at-home wife now. Surprise. Ultimately, this boils down to a situation that people tend to do where they're taking away the choice of the other person without them knowing that their choice is being taken away. Because the girlfriend, the daughter here, doesn't know that this is what it's going to be like, it sounds like. So you're taking away your choice to say no, that she doesn't want this, by withholding this information from her until she's married. So how could the parent not tell the daughter that? Let me know what you would do if you were in this situation as the parent, and jerk or not a jerk, and why.